The Kenya Safari Acrobats, next on Black Nouveau. Hello and welcome to a new season of Black Nouveau. I'm Joanne Williams. This week, in addition to the Kenya Safari Acrobats, we'll talk with Brian Nord, author of Job Wars. It's about his experiences as a corporate recruiter. We'll also get some tips and warnings for job seekers. We'll look back at Juneteenth Day and African World Festival. And we'll give away some tickets to The Mountaintop, the Milwaukee Repertory Theater's new play about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. But first, being a professional athlete can take you around the world. Recently, one of the stars of the tennis world visited Milwaukee to inspire kids to try the sport. I caught up with Chanda Rubin when she visited Merrill Park in Milwaukee. Before you heard of Venus, before you saw Serena, there was another young African-American woman playing professional tennis who'd been wowing the crowds around the world since she was 16 years old.
I was number 6 in the world, Australian Open doubles winner and semifinal, Grand Slam semifinalist. So a few things I've done, tennis-wise that I'm proud of.
And the Williams sisters were looking up to her.
When they first came out on the tour, they sort of, had been watching me and made sure to come up to me and tell me that. And along the way, we just had, a relationship that's kind of evolved. But at the same time, you're still competitors. And, so there's a balance there. And, I mean, they're great. I mean, great athletes, great competitors, but just ambassadors, excellent ambassadors for the sport. So I'd say when you see that, it's real.
I first saw Chanda Rubin behind the courts after she played a match at the U.S. Open in New York in 1995. She didn't remember our encounter, of course, but she was just as gracious and friendly to me then as she was in Milwaukee with the kids this summer.
Did tennis change your life?
Completely.
I go through some hard people but I try to do the best I can do. At the end of the day, you say, what could I have done better?
And the thing is, the best opportunities are when we play people who are better than we are, or when we have to compete, or when we have to find a way around a challenge against someone who's better. And it's good then, because you have to do something more than what you've done, and that's how you improve.
If there's one thing Chanda Rubin has, it's a constantly positive attitude about tennis and life's challenges. She's coped with injuries that kept her out of her sport, and even dealt with her house burning to the ground last year in Louisiana. Adapting and coping. That was part of the message she brought to the dozens of kids gathered at Merrill Park in Milwaukee for a tennis clinic.
Don't compare yourself to other people. Okay, that's number one. With tennis and what I've done with the game, I had to learn how to follow my own path and do my own thing, because everybody wasn't playing tennis. Everybody wasn't going to tournaments. Sometimes I had to learn how to make a choice and do something on my own, not maybe go and do everything my friends were doing or go and do what the crowd is doing. So that's very important.
Born in Lafayette, Louisiana, Rubin was on a tennis court shortly after she learned to walk. How did you get started in tennis? Who put you on the court the first time?
My parents. My parents got me started with the game. They loved the sport. They started when they finished school and started playing into local tournaments and just more and more involved on the weekends, and I would just follow them out onto the court.
I'm sure a lot of our viewers want to know, what do you know about the big stars of tennis? They want to know, what's Venus like? What's Serena like? What's Maria Sharapova like? What are those people like?
Well, they're all quite different. I mean, you see them on the court, and you see a bit of their personalities that come out. With Venus and Serena, I actually played doubles with Venus at the Olympics, which was a great experience. In Greece, I played against them in doubles. I played against them in singles. And I've interacted with them as well.
Rubin retired from the professional tour in 2006. In those 16 years she played, she won almost $5 million. Now she's one of the elite athletes on the board of the United States Tennis Association. That's the governing body for all professional and amateur players. She's also very interested in helping kids learn tennis and the life lessons the sport can teach. That's why she visited Wisconsin for the Milwaukee Tennis and Education Foundation rally. Any kid could come out, pick up a racket, and try the sport.
These are still a little bit big, but Let's try this one.
I don't know about that.
It's a little big still. Let's see. Oh yeah, you want to switch with her? Okay, yeah. That's a better one for you. Perfect.
Thank you.
All right. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. You got it. Oh, it's not yours. Okay, you got it. Oh, awesome. Awesome. Oh, we got it. How did you get that over?
There we go.
Oh, man. That was pretty good, though. Good job. Partner. Good job. That's awesome.
Ruben is also trying a new career in television announcing while going back to school. She's taking Harvard University extension courses in business and economics. So how are you making the transition from the court to the classroom?
Well, you just do it. You just get out there and you get it done. You try different things. You try to continue to learn and grow, similar to the way I've always approached, my sport and anything that I wanted to be good at. You just embrace the challenge, and that's what I've tried to do in all of these other areas. It's been interesting. I will say that I've enjoyed every minute of it, but it has been a very different experience, and I've had fun kind of working different muscles of my brain, for lack of a better word. Everything you do is a process. You don't automatically start out at the top level. It sounds good to say you've done all of these great things, but you have to start where you are here today. You have to make it into the court. Oh, you can catch it and oh, nice. All right, I might want to play that game.
If you could do it again, would you do it again, or would you do something else?
I would do it again, absolutely, in a heartbeat. I've
Why?
loved it. I've loved, the game, the sport, playing it at the level that I've been able to play at. I feel very fortunate to play for the amount of time that I was able to play. I was on the tour for about 16 years. I feel lucky to have had those experiences, and not to mention the travel and learning about yourself and learning to be somewhat self-sufficient. I mean, it's priceless what I've gotten from the game. So I'd do it again in a heartbeat.
The Kenya Safari Acrobats offer a truly unique cultural experience. The troupe members learned acrobatics as children. It was a way to break free from an impoverished country. Liddy Collins caught up with the troupe when it recently performed at Wisconsin Lutheran College.
Jumping, tumbling, and coordination describe the production of the Kenya Safari Acrobats. This company travels throughout the United States, performing in schools, at festivals and fairs. They have performed with various circuses, including the Universal Circus and Ringling Brothers. The group's members are from Kenya and this year Tanzania, countries both located in East Africa.
There's acrobatics, a lot of comedy, it's just a very fun show. It's a lot of balance and acts. A lot of people don't really understand what acrobatics is. Acrobatics is a lot of balance and acts, so you'll see a lot of balance and acts in our show.
This is a theatrical show that educates while entertaining. Kenya's culture and customs are shared through narrations, tales, and ceremonies. One tale is told through a limbo contest. It tells of a tribesman trying to win the hand of a Bantu king's daughter.
Our shows are very fun-filled and has a lot of skill to it.
And of course you have to be in excellent shape to do acrobatics.
One of the guys, he basically has muscles all over his body. He has 1% body fat, probably a 0.5% body fat, I think, when we measured him.
A Kenyan ceremony based on a bed of nails is showcased.
The Bed of Nails Act that we do, it comes from a cultural thing that happens in one of the tribes in Kenya.
In some tribes, they are carrying a bed of nails in order to receive their tribal markings. They must prove to the tribe that now they are strong enough and they are a man now to receive those tribal markings. They are cut with a knife, some 3 times across the forehead, on your cheek or on your chest or arms, wherever the young boy wants the tribal markings to be.
So we kind of try to keep the young guys where they're doing everything cultural so that they can remember their culture.
The acrobats' ages range from 12 to 42. Their beginning training varies depending on where they're from.
If you're from Kenya, you start training about the age of 16 or 17 years old because the government doesn't allow them to train acrobatics. They would prefer for them to go to school. So they frown upon them doing acrobatics. I mean, they will do acrobatics, but that's where I'm from. So that's where we kind of started the acrobatics. But Tanzania acrobats, the government actually provides them schooling. They pay for them, and they also, if you're very good or show potential, they would send you to China to train with the Chinese acrobats.
One tribe in Kenya requires its tribesmen to perform extraordinary feats, such as climbing to the top of a coconut tree to earn their tribal markings. This custom is shown through chair stacking, a balancing act between chair and man. The Kenya Safari Acrobats have a dream program, which is their foundation. Part of the proceeds from their tour goes into this foundation, which supports a school in Nairobi, Kenya.
14, I believe we have 14 children there, and we support them with the stuff that with some of our proceeds, and also when we sell stuff, it all goes to our children in Kenya, in Nairobi, Kenya. It's just one little school there that we have, so we pay for them to go to school and pay for their uniforms and pay for their food.
When you look for a job, you think the employer will be judging you on your experience, on your skills, on your talent, right? Not always. Our guest has been in the human resources, job recruiting business for more than 20 years. He's been behind the scenes of corporate America and seen how job seekers are rejected because of their race, gender, sexual orientation, and age. So he wrote this book, Lifting the Veil of Secrecy, that he says employers use to avoid change in the workforce. In it, he has some surprising suggestions for applicants to help beat the system and get that job. Brian Nord joins us on Black Nouveau. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
First of all, why did you write this book? When I read it, I thought to myself, this man was mad when he wrote this book. I mean, angry mad. Is that why?
You know, I won't say mad as much as I'll say frustrated. You know, I have been on both sides. So as a headhunter, my own recruiting business, and then in corporate America. And I really had this sense that we had turned the corner. And the corner being that if you spoke up, if you saw things, that the system itself would pretty much fix it. And as I tried to do that in several companies that I worked for, I found that they were receptive to a point. And the point that they stopped being receptive in many of these cases was when they weren't making the changes or taking care of what they were supposed to do, and then you become insistent.
Give me an example. What did you say to one of your employers that made them change their attitude towards you?
You know, I think the first time, or with the first company, when I came back to corporate America in '96, so I went to work for a national company, and it really got to the point where after almost a year, I would have managers still calling me up, and this is after having met me. So while they might have not known what I looked like from talking to me on the phone, I traveled around the country doing training sessions on interviewing and hiring and diversity and so on. And so it got really difficult when somebody would call me up and say, hey, don't send me any more black people. All black people are lazy. I tried, and this was a specific incident. I tried to hire black people down here in the warehouse. They're all lazy. I'm not hiring any, so stop sending them. And so yes, there I did get mad. Somebody telling me to my face, all black people are lazy. So what, you're telling me I'm lazy? My brothers are lazy?
Well, they were telling you over the phone.
Yes.
Not to your face. What did they say when they saw you?
Well, you know, they were nicer about it, but then they had all of the excuses. We can't hire black people here because, and this is actually in Milwaukee area where I had my regional office, my recruiting office. And I lived in Brookfield. And they would tell me, well, you know, we can't really hire black people in Brookfield because they wouldn't have anybody to sell to. So their idea, and this is big throughout corporate America with a lot of companies, they truly believe that black people can only sell to black people. And so in where my office was, as I'm actually recruiting people, they would tell me, you know, I can't hire black people because there's no black people living in Brookfield.
Well, when you were in these companies, didn't you have some allies? Didn't you have some people you could speak to and say, I see discrimination going on, I see the lack of diversity, I see people saying one thing and doing another?
And yes, until, and I will say, even with and I've changed the names in my book to protect the innocent, as the saying goes, but with that first company, they were very receptive to the idea that they needed to change. This was a company that was expanding in the Midwest, going national, and they were finding that they had a lot more turnover, and they realized that they had to have more diversity. And so they talked a good game, and that's really one of the other reasons why I wrote the book, is a lot of companies talk a good game, but when it comes to really making that decision, they really don't want to take the real step that it takes, the necessary step to make sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to do. And so, and again, getting back to the idea of where all of a sudden I'm on the outside looking in, is when I say, you know, if you don't change this, I'm going to have to do something.
Well, let me ask you this from the other side, from the job seeker side. Mm-hmm. You give some advice in the book on how to fill out your resume, how to talk to a potential employer, how to go to your interview. And some of the things you say, people will say, I thought you were supposed to be open and forthcoming. And you say, maybe not so much.
Absolutely not so much. I won't say maybe not so much. I will say absolutely. And you know, it's hard for me because on the one hand, I do believe in the honesty thing. But I think that what we all forget is that everybody in business making hiring decisions is really not being honest. They're making decisions based on what their individual, you know, thought process is. And it isn't always about the best person for the job. And so they are going to look at their environment, what they want to control, and what their likes and dislikes are, regardless of your qualifications, and make decisions about you.
So what should I say? What should I say when somebody calls me and says, come in for the interview?
I think that the key is that you have to remember it's a business transaction, and you have to be the job. Whether an employer says that they really want to know what you want, they really don't, especially a hiring manager. A hiring manager wants to know what you can do for them. And so keeping all of your personal information to yourself, basically getting them to believe that this is the job you want, this is the job you want for the rest of your life, and then being able to explain to them how you're going to be able to add to their business.
One word answer. Will reading your book help somebody get a job, or will it just make them angry about searching for a job?
I think it'll probably do both. The comments that I have gotten back frustration, shock, but it will certainly help them get a job. And the main part here is for them to understand that the rules are not the rules. I start the book out in the introduction talking about an article that was written in the Huffington Post, and this was maybe 6 months before I finished the book, and I was able to include it in there, where even a field attorney for the EEOC talked about all of the dirty tricks and bad things that are going on out there. And he just didn't say one company, although he gave some examples. He talked about it being in every company in every state. And so to me, at least understand what you're up against, because there really is a, not only individuals, but culturally, corporations have a hard time doing the really hard work that it takes to say, hey, we are going to have diversity.
So bottom line is, job seekers beware, do your homework, and
Absolutely.
don't be surprised. Thank you very much for talking with us. I appreciate it.
Excellent.
Interesting book.
Thank you.
As we move into fall, we thought we'd take a few moments to look back on two of Milwaukee's signature summer activities, Juneteenth Day and African World Festival.
Double chocolate chip cake.
Register to vote. Have some chili balance. And get a healthy snack while you're at it.
Let me get you guys some of this milk.
Thank you so much.
We need to celebrate Juneteenth every day. We can come together. We can be better than what we've been.
Running Rebels, Juneteenth shirt.
Rebels for life. Running Rebels, work with youth in the community, been working with kids for 30 years. Rebels for life.
I gotta get Joe some because he's bigger than this.
Good. 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 Hey, there you go. We take old recycled clothing and make them all new. So we take buttons and buckles and we make all new recycled hats. My pink one is for cancer awareness. Just letting the ladies know you can still be beautiful.
No, I didn't bring Jimmy. Check it out. Hi. Yeah, I do. Hi, honey. How are you? Okay. Don't do that. How about looking at this? You like poetry? It's music?
All right. Well,
read that.
Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop.
Those are lines from Dr. King's I've Been to the Mountaintop speech. He delivered that speech the night before he was assassinated in 1968. The Milwaukee Rep's production of The Mountaintop is a fictional story of an encounter Dr. King has with a hotel maid during that evening. The play will run from September 26th through November 4th. Would you like to see it? We have 4 pairs of tickets to give away to viewers who can answer this question. Name the hotel where Dr. King was staying when he was assassinated. Give us a call at 414-297-7556 or email us at tvviewer@matc.edu. We need your name, phone number, address, and the answer to the question. If you've won a prize from us within the last year, you are not eligible for this contest. But again, we need your name, phone number, address, and the answer to the question. Tickets are courtesy of the Milwaukee Repertory Theater. And that's our program for this evening. Next week, we'll have an interview with J. Bernard Calloway, the actor who portrays Dr. King in the play. Join us then, won't you? For Black Nouveau, I'm Joanne Williams. Good night.